Joining us now, David K. Johnston, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. He's a columnist with the Daily Beast. And Cody Kane, writer and commentator who contributes to Time.com, the Huffington Post, and Salon.com. David, what does Donald Trump not understand about public debt, about the national debt, as opposed to the way he has manipulated debt in his bankruptcies?
Well, what does he understand, I think, is the better question,
Okay,
Lawrence.
Either way. Take it either way.
Donald has under oath been asked basic questions about corporate finance, and the answers he gives are, as the woman who cuts my haircuts said when I showed her one of them, gibberish. Donald does not understand at all anything except any device that will bring money into his pocket, and as he himself said, I've borrowed money knowing I wouldn't have to pay it back. I've done very well with that. Well, that's not the way honest business people operate. Honest business people borrow money strategically to grow their business, and they pay their debts back, like, say, Harry Truman did after his business failed during the Depression.
Cody, Hillary Clinton sees this poll that shows Donald Trump with a lead on that one area, management of the economy, and she goes at it. Given that the country is basically illiterate on matters of economics, does it sound better for her to go through the Donald Trump business door and talk about here's how his businesses went bankrupt, or try to keep it on actual federal fiscal policy?
Well, she's off to a good fighting start in accusing him of filing for bankruptcy. But Hillary needs to do better. She needs better arguments on this to attack Donald Trump with respect to his business record. So far, she's going after him.
What's the better argument?
Well, the better argument is that just because he is wealthy does not mean he is qualified to be president of the United States. This is the essence of Donald Trump's appeal. It's because he's so fabulously wealthy that people just fall into the argument, because he's so wealthy, he's going to do great for the country. Hillary needs to debunk this. She needs to debunk this idea that just because he's wealthy, he will be a good president. That is not the case. And so far, she is not doing a great job at this. She needs to do better. She needs to up her game. She's attacking Donald Trump for his bankruptcies, right? And this is true. He's had several companies that filed for bankruptcy, and that is a problem. But this argument just doesn't hold water, because we see that, in fact, overall, Trump himself is not bankrupt. Trump actually is successful. So he's flying around the country in this jet. We all see it. He's flaunting his wealth in front of everybody. He's giving interviews from his fabulous penthouse apartment on Fifth Avenue, right? So we all see it with our own eyes that Trump is super wealthy. Hillary needs to address this head on.
Let's take a look at what Hillary Clinton said today about Donald Trump and the products and the jobs, in effect, that he has shipped overseas with his own products.
Trump's own products are made in a lot of countries that aren't named America. Trump ties are made in China, Trump suits in Mexico, Trump furniture in Turkey, Trump picture frames in India, Trump barware in Slovenia. And I could go on, but you get the idea. And I'd love for him to explain how all that fits with his talk about America first.
David, that seems to be something that is pretty accessible to voters, especially where Donald Trump is talking about this whole issue of jobs going overseas.
Well, if I were Hillary, the way I would attack that is, Donald is one of the people moving your jobs offshore. Why doesn't he just charge $1 more for ties and have them made by textile workers here in America? And of course, Donald, in these deals, just signs his name. So long as you pay him a fee up front, he'll do any deal you want. I mean, how many billionaires go around saying, I need to sell neckties with my name on them, steaks, water, picture frames, in order to get money?
Donald Trump's defense today on this is that the hats are made in the USA. Let's listen to this.
The Trump ties are made in China, the Trump suits in Mexico, Trump furniture in Turkey, Trump barware in Slovenia.
It's true. And you know why? Because they devalue their currencies and they make it impossible for companies to compete. And she doesn't have to say that, because I say it all the time. I say, unfortunately, my ties are made in China. And I will say this, the hats, Make America Great Again, I searched long and hard to find somebody that made the hats in this country.
So there we have it, Cody. He's getting the hats made in the USA.
Right. Well, this is, again, Hillary's off to a good start, a good fighting start about showing how Donald Trump is manufacturing overseas. This is good, but it's not quite there. She needs to do better, because Trump is going to come back with the argument and say that he is a superior businessman. He understands the business environment, and that's why he's manufacturing overseas. But if you elect him president, he will come along, change the laws, and he will make it better for America. So Hillary needs to overcome this argument. She needs to do better.
Where Hillary Clinton is doing well, she has a lead in the polls. The latest one, a CNN poll, she's at 47. Trump's at 42. That is actually a tie within the 3.5% margin of error. Could be a tie. The numbers could also be 3.5%. Hillary could be above 50. Trump could be below 40. The margin of error goes both ways. But in the Battleground State poll, on the question of who is better prepared to be president, which may be the most important internal question of all, Hillary Clinton way ahead in Florida, 60-31, in Ohio, 57-33, Pennsylvania, 59-32. David K. Johnson, that is the essential question that voters will be considering when they cast their vote for the presidency. And that is just an astronomical lead for Hillary Clinton on that issue of who is better prepared to be president.
Well, I think there's a huge opening here that we need to see. We don't know if they're going to debate or not. But if Trump is asked questions where he would have to demonstrate his supposed genius understanding of business, having gone to the Wharton School, I think the answers he would give would be pretty devastating to his public image based on what he said under oath in depositions. Donald doesn't understand taxes, even though he says he knows more about taxes than anybody else. He does not understand trade. Even the Conservative Tax Foundation says that his tax plan, which is pretty sketchy, would lead to $12 trillion of larger federal debt over the next 10 years. $12 trillion.
Well, if David K. Johnson was a questioner in one of these presidential debates, I'm sure Donald Trump would have a rough ride, but that's not who gets to do it. David K. Johnson and Cody Kane, thank you both for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lawrence.